everyone.
Hey, how you doing?
Welcome to Couch Potato Critic. We are going to elaborate a little bit. This is sort of a part 2 to the video that we just recently posted about our experience at Harkins Theaters, and as well as the New Mutants.
Yeah, New Mutants.
And what we thought of that. That was our first video that we did, so we got a little bit flustered, I think, in providing some feedback on the spot. But after having time to kind of let what we saw settle, we definitely have further thoughts on it. So we wanted to share those with you guys. First, regarding the theater experience at Harkins, there were appropriate measures taken, I think.
They had enough space between everybody in the seats.
Yeah.
And you wore your mask during the movie, so. Right.
In actuality, it didn't feel any less safe than like going to the grocery store, to be honest. In fact, probably come into closer contact with people in the grocery store than we even did there. So, we felt that they did a really responsible job. So
they did, and being able to go back to the theater, that was what I liked the most.
Yeah.
I mean, being able to, like I said, in the theater, a hot dog tastes different in at the movies, and then you're also eating popcorn also too, and I miss that. I mean, it's been several months, so it was pretty nice to get back there.
Yeah, they definitely did a great job of maintaining as much of that experience as possible for everyone. So good job to them. Now we're on to the New Mutants and chatting about that. For me in particular, I'm not really familiar with these New Mutants. Mm-hmm. I mean, I feel like a lot of other people that watch these comic movies that we're not that familiar with anything outside of like the typical X-Men that we grew up on these movies with. And I don't really know any of these comic book characters outside of the movies, other than like growing up and seeing like the boys that I had crushes on bringing these comics to school and seeing them there. But beyond that, I didn't know anything. So this was completely new to me, completely new. So I didn't really have any expectations about it at all. And it doesn't sound like you did either.
No, because I've read the comics and stuff, but I wasn't really that into it like I was with the Uncanny X-Men and, the original X-Men, because these are actually supposed to be the new, I guess I don't want to say new X-Men, but the New Mutants. I mean, because the comics were dates is after they died off. The X-Men died off, and then, and then Professor X wants to actually create another, I don't want to say create another team, because he closes down the school and then reopens it, and then these New Mutants, and what he's trying to do is just actually teaching them how to hone their powers and control it. But he really doesn't send them off like into battle like he did with Wolverine, Phoenix and all those guys. So
I see.
So it's almost like a different chapter, and he was just doing things different this time. But of course, it doesn't end up that way when you continue on and read the comics. But yeah, I really didn't. I had no expectations of it. I also going into it, I knew that the movie wasn't totally finished because it was supposed to come out in 2017. And it kept getting pushed back and pushed back. Yeah. Okay. And pushed back, and at some time, I even heard that Fox wanted to rewrite it. So, and again, they wanted to do reshoots. That never happened. And I don't know, just going into it, just have the understanding that, when you watch it, that it's a movie that was actually really not completed, and all the extra stuff that they want to put in there isn't there. But I still liked it. Still liked it. Going into it, I like it. The actors portraying the characters, they did a good job. Granted, the storylines have all been changed, but I still enjoyed it. It was like entertainment factor to me.
Yeah, so. For sure. I was even entertained by it despite not being completely familiar with it. I noticed that there were references, though, still, like throwbacks to other X-Men. Like, there is a reference to Professor X in it. It's a little bit subtle, but it's there. And also the reference to something within the Logan movie storyline. I don't want to give anything else away about that, but
I like that.
But there's definitely those references in there, but that's pretty much the extent of it. It really is almost like a whole new franchise, really.
Yeah, it's when I saw it was really like I wasn't really watching a movie. It was almost like an extended TV version of it, which I think also it was supposed to just go straight to Netflix or something like that. From what I've read, is actually supposed to be on TV. But then again, going back to it was made in 2017, so during that time, Fox was still trying to find a formula that actually worked with all the X-Men movies at that time. So, but again, I still liked it. Entertainment value, the action. I like the fact that they following that horror genre and stuff like that. I mean, it reminded me of some of the stuff reminded me of Freddy Krueger, Dream Warriors. They even had Buffy the Vampire, TV scenes in there, which I thought was cool.
Yeah.
So it had, like I said, I liked it.
Yeah, it definitely, I mean, it's obviously part of the sci-fi fantasy horror genre, but it definitely leans more towards the horror part of the genre than
that's what makes
other Marvel movies that we've seen. And because there's definitely a creepy factor involved, you guys, for sure.
That's the other thing I liked about it, because it made it different. And then you're not just like, oh, it's another X-Men movie.
And by nature, darker in some ways, too. Yeah.
And then, again, going back to the characters, I thought, the characters were pretty cool. I mean, as far as the characters' abilities and what they showed, that was correct. I like that. That was pretty awesome,
Yeah.
I mean, you have Ileana Rasputin. She was on there. You got, her name's Mirage in the comics, but they just called her real name Danny or Danielle Moonstar. So, but other than that, everything's cool. I liked it. I'll go see it again.
And there's also it's Cannonball.
Cannonball.
And
there's forgot the other guy's name. Sunspot.
Yeah.
Sunspot. So
who kind of reminds me of in Fantastic Four, the Human Torch. But you were telling me that they're different from one another.
Yeah. Human Torch is able to, Sunspot, he just can manipulate and control solar energy. And Human Torch, he was able to do that with fire. I mean, but, the difference is that I see in those characters is that Human Torch, he has to concentrate and raise his heat energy, when Sunspot can do it just like that. Because it's just straight solar energy. Just boom.
Yeah.
So.
And the thing that sticks out to me about this movie also is that all of these main characters are young. They're teenagers. They're still learning their abilities and how to control them. And it's not even just that either. They're teenagers. So they're testing their limits in a lot of different ways. So I noticed that despite it having a PG-13 rating, they definitely tried to get away with as much as they possibly could for that rating. So be prepared for that. Because I noticed too that in the theater, at least for our showing, there weren't any kids at all in the movie theater whatsoever. No kids. So I don't know if that just speaks to the movie itself and what it's about.
Yeah. Well, they did. Well, like I said, they did hit. On top of the comics, they do have a novel, again, back in the 1980s when it came out, that was really dark. And from what I remember reading it wasn't for little kids. So.
Yeah.
And I think that's why they followed this whole horror genre stuff, which I think that's what made it cool and different from other X-Men and stuff. So.
Yeah. And also, I'm hoping that they make more movies. I mean, the end of it was a little Breakfast Club, we were saying, a little bit Breakfast Club, but it also left off with them easily being able to pick up with a sequel to it. So I'm hoping that they do that, and I'm really interested to see what more is in store for these characters and how they grow, you know, and their powers and everything. Because I'm sure we haven't seen the full brunt of everything that they can actually do.
No, the only one that you can clearly tell that she has control over her powers is Eliana Spude. You know, her name's Magic, so, but that's the only one you can tell who actually has control over it. But I don't want to spoil anything, but her character, you know, also goes into a different dimension, and when she comes back in that dimension, while she's in that other dimension, she learns how to hone her skills and her power. So when she comes back to the previous or our dimension, I guess you could say, she already knows how to use it, and that's why in the movie you see her. She's able to, you know, wield what they call the soul sword, so which is pretty cool. And the other factor that I liked in the movie is that they introduced the first villain in New Mutants in the comic, which is the Demon Bear. I like that. That was pretty cool how they introduced it. But I wish they would have actually introduced him as original villain by himself rather than something metaphorical. So.
And speaking of Demon Bear, I hope this isn't. I don't think it's much of a spoiler, but just in case, a spoiler alert. But I just want to say, can we just put Adam Beach in a comic movie where he doesn't get killed?
I know, right?
Like, right away, like he's not one of the first characters to die.
First character dies off in
Suicide Squad and Slipknot, and this one, his character dies pretty quickly, even quicker than he did in Suicide Squad. So, but yeah, overall, it was an entertaining film to see. And yeah, it definitely was. I would be interested to check it out again at some point also. And you know, you always notice things that like you didn't see the first time.
Oh yeah, so. That's why it's always good to go back and watch it a second or third time.
Yeah.
You know?
So
because even me, I might be able to pick something up that I didn't see. You know, so.
Yeah. But that's our review of the New Mutants. You guys can watch that and leave comments. Let us know what you thought, if you agree with us or disagree with us, if you want us to go pound sand, any of that.
Check it out.
Again, like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. And we want to sign off by just mentioning really quickly that we obviously found out about the passing of Chadwick Boseman. Mm-hmm. So we wanted to just say rest in peace and our condolences to all of those that are mourning him.
Wakanda forever, man.